that opportunity, of course, is, well, we're getting some inside information. There was a question that was asked this morning about the type of order book that we get, which obviously gives us some really, really nice insight into what the market's doing at any particular price. And you guys don't have access to the book data of individual banks of any sort. So that's obviously a thing that you guys can't have. That's a thing you guys don't have at the moment. So that's where you guys are going to, have a little bit of a struggle because you don't have access to that information. But having said that, of course, you've got access to all the other stuff. You do have access to deltas. You do have access to that information. Now, I see a lot of selling coming in our book just now in the S&P, so I like the short trade on upticks at the present moment. I don't like the fact that the trade has anything else. I just think it is a simple, basic bit of business on the short side. Now that can change in an instant, of course. But I like the short on upticks at the moment. It's getting jammed at the moment on the sell, but I quite like the sell to make a break south out of the 70s. So for me, it's about selling on upticks at the 71s, trying to get the jam, trying to get the market moving to the downside, trying to capture a little bit of that sell motion. And obviously, if the buyers keep on coming in and jamming it, the price will reverse back off the lows, and we'll try it again at a higher price. It has come back off the lows. That's expected because we were getting jammed at the 70, 70, 69 half, 69 evens. So my sell at 70, my sell at 71s, that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to just get the market to move. I'm still working on the short side of the idea. Warren's obviously got a view of a buy trade. That's pretty obvious. Warren's got a view of the buy trade. It had a kind of bullish close. There's my sell working out now, guys. We said we'd keep the pressure on the short side because that's what we're seeing in our book, is that we're seeing a lot of selling coming in on the market. So those sellers getting jammed at the moment, and that's why we do what we do. That's why we keep working certain orders at certain prices. So let's see how this evolves. Let's see how this evolves. Now, I did a tweet just at midnight, and it probably therefore hasn't surprised anybody that the market has opened with that little gap up today, because we did send a tweet last night and we said that it was a bullish close. If you look at the S&P going into last night's close, you'll see strong rotations this evening with an interesting improvement in the quality spreads. It's got a bullish close. All the big corporates were buying the close. And into that storyline, of course, that meant that we were expecting to see the market gapping up because all the big corporates were buying the close. So guess what happened? The S&P opened a gap up. The SPX opened gap up, didn't it? So no surprises to any of these things, is there? I mean, if you looked at it last night, would you not have went into the close long? Would you not have said, you know what, I quite like the idea of being long at the close here? Of course you would have. If you looked at this close, and remember the close contains the biggest volume of the day, would you not be looking at the close here and saying, this looks really quite good for a, the closing price is in here, remember, there's the closing price there. So I'll just zoom in so you can see where we're at, right? There's 20.59 right there. So there's your closing price. You might be saying, I don't see any value in that, but you've got to zoom out to see the value, of course. There's the value there. So when you look at the overall shape of that value, you look at the volatility and you say it's above that current price. You look at the the Warren line, and you see it's above the line. You've got to look at that and say all the big commercials are going to be buying the closing price, every one of them. That's why we tweeted out it's a bullish close. And what happens? The price opens gap up, and you make a lot of money. That's what happens. Gap up and you make a lot of money. Now, since then, of course, I've been a seller, as you know. I haven't seen any buyers coming in. So, as you know, I've been selling off the 71s. Did anybody join me on the sell at 71s? Did anybody believe what I was saying about no buyers coming in and taking a little pop at some selling on this? I hope so. And we don't make this stuff up, guys. We don't make this stuff up. So selling off the 71s again for the squeeze, and it's worked out quite nicely. It was getting a bit jammed at lower prices. It was getting a bit jammed at lower prices, but that just meant that we had another chance to take some profits and try it again at higher prices and just keep rotating back into that sell bit of business off that uptick. And you can see we've been very, very successful in achieving what we set out, and that's just to try and get the price to drive down a little bit off of that higher print. So that's what we've been seeing, that's what we've been doing. I like the trade, and that's all there is to it. Looking good, looking good, looking good, looking good. Will I sell the next uptick? Damn right I'll sell the next uptick. Where's the next liquidity? We don't know yet, but we'll wait for what we'll do is we'll wait for another transition, won't we? We'll be looking for the next transition to take another little bit of business. Now, whether that's at a price of 71s again, or whether it's at a price of 73s or 75s or 79s, I don't really give a shit. All I've got to do is turn up into the pit and recognize the opportunity that's in front of us. I have taken some sell business off the 69 halves there, and it's dropped down again, so I'm just taking a bit of profit again off that selling. You'll be able to recognize that there was a little lean we had at 69 evens. I did say I'm not seeing any buyers, didn't I? Yeah, everybody heard me? And there we go, another successful trade with a stop at break even. I'll take a little screenshot so you can just see what the boys have taken profits on the revert. There was a jam came in at 67s there, so the profit take was taken before my my ability to take a screenshot. That's a pity. Okay, so we'll wait for the next one. So what we did was we sold some at 69, 69 quarter, 69 halves. We just took it down to 66 halves there, got jammed a little bit up at 67s, and we'll wait for the next opportunity to get into this. Still no buyers visible, so I am still a seller. I am still keen to explore, but obviously that was a failed auction, that last drop there. So based on the fact that it was a failed auction, we've got to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more aggressive on the exits. So anytime the price drops down, we become like the weak seller, which means there's a higher probability of obviously sweeping the stops above the market at this stage, because obviously we're now the guys that are going to be taking more aggressive profits on downticks, and that's why the price you'll see has gone back up again, because every time the price made like 2 ticks, we were taking profits. The more you read this, the more you understand this as a process, the more you'll understand why things happen. This is why we go into narratives, isn't it? This is why we try and teach you guys about the narrative that's going on in the background. When you think about any market position, if you think about any market position that's going on anywhere, when you understand the narrative about rotations and about liquidity and all that kind of stuff. So for example, if the prices are selling off and the prices come back up and I start selling some 71s up here and the price drops and the price comes back up, I'll sell nice and easy and I won't be too keen to take profits, right? But if the price does this and comes back up, yes, I'll sell if I've still got short value. But I'm going to be more inclined to take fast money profits through this phase because of this reason here. The failed auction. And obviously that puts me into that position of being a weak seller. And this means that when you've got weak sellers, the higher probability of what's going to happen is if I'm the guy that's buying into this phase here, the price ends up sticking in these areas, doesn't it? And we start getting the price sticking in these areas. And what happens next, of course, is that the better option is to then sweep off the weakness and give the sellers a bit of space to work and then go for the breaking market south. And that's how it works, isn't it? That's how the whole process works. Now, I'm still short. I haven't seen any buyers yet. As you know, I haven't seen any buyers at all, but we keep getting jammed at 67, 67 quarters. 67, 60 quarters, we keep getting jammed. And, you know, that's just the way it is. But I am short. I am currently short from 69 evens this time. Short from 69 evens. I'm going to put a stop in at break even on the remainder of my position on this. we're in good shape. I'll take a screenshot so you can see what I'm doing. This time we did capture a screenshot as the market breaks south. How good was that sell-off, guys? Who joined me? Who joined me on that easy money short? I told you there's no bloody buyers. So there's the trade there, right? So you can see what we were doing. So unfortunately, I've taken the screenshot and I've blocked off the lean price. I've blocked off the lean price, right? So you can see that there's a block at the back of that price there, unfortunately, and you can see that that's giving us a very, very strong lean area to trade, right? It's giving us a very strong lean area to trade, and it comes down and it gets jammed up in here. Now, when that jam happens, the price did carry on, but it gave us that failed auction there, right? So I was now aware of the fact that that gave us a failed auction. That's what I shouted out. On the basis that that gave us a failed auction, because I'd taken this first trade here, that's the one that I missed the screenshot of because I thought it was going to go faster to the downside at that stage. When the price comes back up and the price started to sell here, I took some business here. I got short here. I got some short business here. But because of that failed auction, when the price dropped, I was taking business here. I was taking business here. I was taking business out during this phase. And that's when I said to you guys, this is going to cause this market to sweep. So when the price goes above that pivot price there, I started the whole process again. I looked at how many sellers were coming in. I looked at how many buyers were coming in our book. I couldn't find any buyers anywhere. Nobody was asking for any buy trade opportunities. So I started to work back into the short trade, which is this trade here. I started to go back into the short trade off the 69s. And obviously then what happened is that I wasn't as aggressive on my exits. And sure enough, we've seen the price dropping all the way down now, and it's all got all the way now down to 63.5. 63.5 from 69, guys. A live trade call, and we've just made an absolute killing, haven't we? We've just made an absolute killing on my desk data. Now, this is something I talked to the guys about this morning, is that this is something that I've got access to that nobody else has access to in the room, and I'd love to be able to get it so that I can generate it on TradingView so that everybody can see it. But now, this is my own trade data coming in terms of order flow and tape reads. And you can see how valuable that is because we got the short trade and I shouted the short trade and I traded the short trade where everybody else was maybe looking at it saying, oh, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But I gave the shout. I gave the shout. There are no buyers. And sure enough, what's happened? That's what's happened to the sell guys. We got down to 61s. So we started selling this at 71s. We got down to 61s. And you can see what's happened to the trade. Here's the trade here anyway for what it's worth. So there's the RGL from last night, the closing price. There's the RGL. We've came off the high prices. I've just been solidly selling, as you know. And as I said, once we'd managed to break through some of these key areas, we got the market starting to shift in our favor, didn't we? That's a great trade. That's a very, very good trade, isn't it? Like it? Of course we like it. It's just went from 84 to 70. Just done $700 odd on the, $700 on the SPX here, $700. Of course we like it. Fan-fecking-tastic. Tastish. Brilliant. And that, my friends, is how you trade. Crazy? Not really. Just good business, guys. Just good business. Interestingly enough, during this period, if you look at the deltas at the bottom, you'll see that there was a few minor kind of buyers creeping in through this phase, but they were pretty poor, weren't they, in their efforts? And you can see that they flattened out at this point here. And I'll just take that point up into the charts themselves. So you can see that there was no buyers came in after that. And you can see that just resulted in kind of lethargy through that phase there. I mean, that's the start of the big sell-off that we've now taken down to 58s. 58s, guys. Pretty good. Pretty good. Through the RGL now. Through the RGL. It's getting well jammed now, guys. Lots of kind of hidden orders coming in, so I think that's probably, in the first instance, the first move. Finito. I'm still waiting to see if I see any buyers. I still haven't seen any. But it's starting to just give us a look of a market that's, tying up just a little bit at this stage. So time to book some profits on your short ES.